One of the great things about playing Football Manager, creating a wonder kid factory, a place where you can churn out 5-star potential players who go on to achieve great things in the game. On top of that, you also need to supplement this with a method where you can identify 5-star players across the world. How do you do that efficiently? All that and more on today's show. If you've been following me on Twitch, you'll probably be aware of the fact that I am in the safe, which is undoubtedly one of the hardest I've had to play because I'm playing against your super Nugents. Your Nugents who are super powered. And the only way I can beat those teams is by creating a Wonder Kid factory where I churn out Wonder Kids that can take those players on because I can't sign the super gens. I need to develop my own. On top of that, I've had to go out there and scout these kind of players to add them to my squad. Today, we're going to see how successful that's been. This player graduated from my academy. I have no idea what his attributes are like. We're about to find out. Now, if I'm looking here, his CA is 125. If I look at his PA, is 177. That's very high. Now, 177 is a very high PA. Unfortunately for me, I don't really know my own player's PA. And today we're finding that out together for the first time. He came through our academy. He's got a pretty good personality. But he wanted to play first team football. This is one of the issues that you might have with a Wonder Kid factory. If you are very good at creating a Wonder Kid factory, a lot of your players might have very high ambition and they may want to leave. He came to us telling us that he wanted to play in the first team squad. Unfortunately, I decided, no, you're not ready yet. And then he decided not to renew his contract. He's gone on to join Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich came in, swept him from under my feet, and I lost one of my potential wonder kids. We've got 3 5-star players here. I'm not going to insert a column to find out what everybody's PA is going to be because that's way too much information. I'm going to just pick one of these players out. So the thing is, when you have 4 gold stars and one white star, your coaches aren't exactly sure what their PA is going to be. The scouts went out and found this Marcio Campanus, right? So he was basically at Vitesse. We paid 5.75 million for him and we added him to our squad. Now, if I'm looking at his profile, this is his he's got potentially 5 stars. So let's find out how good he is because I will sign players if they're 4 to 5 stars, right? Because this is relative a comparison to your own squad, and my squad is pretty strong. We've got some very good 5-star players. So let's find out what his PA is going to be. His CA is 94. Yeah, one more time. Let's go 176. That is very, very strong. That is very high. So we've got another player here who potentially is a 5-star player. So he's got 176. Now, whether or not he gets to his full potential depends on how I use him. In terms of development, you can tell he's just joined the club, right? Yeah, there's nothing much here to indicate. And then what about Ilan Imovic? Now, one thing I like to do in terms of their progression, I will develop these players. I will train them. I'm very specific about getting most of my players to develop concentration. He's only been here for a couple of months and his development has been solid. This is another aspect of the Wonder Kid factory. You really, really need to set up a decent training schedule and you got to pay attention to it. And he has been doing quite well in his development. And I'm pretty sure that without me going in to find out more information on these under 19s, these boys are all somewhere around 170. How were we able to do this? There are several things we need to be on top of if we want to have a Wonder Kid factory. If you want to attract very good players into your academy, you have to have very good youth recruitment. Recruitment is going to range from 1 to 20. 1, basically, maybe it's around your neighborhood. 20, think about it as the world. Now, you're going to get as many, your club is going to be very good at recruiting players from across many different countries. And this is going to be very, very handy. When it comes to good academy and great youth facilities, this influences the CA of the players that are coming in. So before they are they become visible, they're invisible in the database. Once they show up, they'll have a certain CA and a certain PA. Now, this is what influences the CA and the PA of those players. Once they have become visible, then your training facilities matter. Your kind of coaches that you use, your whether your coaches are 5-star coaches, whether they've got good world reputations, and whether good coaching qualifications, this will all matter when it comes to your training facilities. So taking a look at our staff, this has been the big driver for us in terms of getting these players in. If you look at my personalities of my staff, my manager is a model professional, professional perfectionist. I've got very good personalities across my coaching department. And this is also very important. Now, in terms of attributes, I try to make sure that they are not only good personalities, but you want decent attributes as well. You just don't go for just um, great personalities and ignore the attributes. You want to have a good balance of the two things. So you want to bring these kind of coaches in, coaches who've got good qualifications, and to some extent, you want them to have a decent world reputation. We did that. This has helped. And you guys are on hand for something I'm about to do because I'm always looking at strengthening my coaching staff. Here I've got the head of youth development. His contract has just expired. He's very loyal. So what I'm going to do is to terminate his contract. We don't need him anymore. So what I tend to do is go to staff search, edit, and now I'm going to be looking for a head of youth development. Looking at the coaches, we've got a couple. I've gone to be working with youngsters and judging PA. We've got Eric Wenderlinden, 45. He works well with youngsters. He got level of discipline is 17. He's got a professional personality. Plays a 4-4-2. That's the only thing that's holding me back. We probably can go for Rodrigo Furtado as well. Rodrigo Furtado is about decent. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna use him, Eric Wenderlinden, instead of under 19s manager. Let's see if he wants to come in as a head of youth development. He does, and there we go. We've just added a head of youth development to our squad. If our director of football had a poor personality, he would have been fired as well. But I like my director of football to have extensive scouting knowledge as well as judging playability, judging potential, and a solid personality. And he fits the bill, so we're going to keep these safe. Now we've created the foundation of our Wonder Kid Factory. These are the coaches that help us develop players that come through the system. Then they'll go to our training facilities, they'll train there. We'll identify the top players. We're going to drop all those players who've got poor personalities. My way of playing could be different from most people. I don't really waste time mentoring unless, there is a special case for it. In most instances, I just kick players out with poor personalities, keep the best personalities who've got good stars, and then develop them internally. It's important to remember 5 stars are pretty rare. They don't happen every year. In most cases, once you've got your Wonder Kid Factory set up, you're going to get a lot of 4, close to 4.5 stars. And this can sometimes be a pretty good thing. But what if you don't have enough players coming through? What do you do then? It's important to keep one thing in mind. If once your main team starts to get very strong and your youth team starts to get very strong, whenever you identify players, whenever you bring them in, sometimes the stars will drop once you add them to the squad. Because, like, for example, we got players here who are like 170. So it means that any player I identify or bring in, they might be showing 5 stars, but then once they join our squad, their stars might drop. Does that mean they lost potential ability? No, it just means that we've got a very high bar that we've set in our club. And that can only be good news. But if I don't have any players coming through, what I like to do is set up proper recruitment focuses. Now, here I've got some recruitment focuses set up. We basically, what I do is I have a recruitment focus that set up something like this. Here we've got a Wonder Kid left back recruitment focus. So here I will set the silver stars to as low as possible, like 2.5 stars should be more than enough, and then minimal potential ability to be 3 or sometimes 3.5. If you set it to 4 or 5, you can miss out on quite a number of players because sometimes your scouts, they might think that he has 5 stars, which means that they've got a lot of white stars here. But what they can see and perceive might only be 2.5 gold stars. So sometimes you just want to give the player a benefit of the doubt. So my advice is don't set this too high. Then we've got the age range between age 15 to 18. And here your areas depends entirely on the number of leagues you've got loaded. Now, my advice is this. The number of Wonder Kids you can possibly scout depends on the number of leagues that are playable. And this in turn depends on your own playing experience. Here in my save, I have 192,000 players. And this is fine for my rig because I've got all these leagues that's playable. So I've got plenty of leagues that I can send my scouts to. More importantly, all these leagues have got active competitions happening. Active leagues just mean there's an active transfer and loan market. Players are being loaned out. Players have a chance to develop. There's plenty of things, activity going on. And it's not uncommon for me to find great demand for my players. And sometimes I can sell my players off for 2 to 300 million. You've seen it on the streams. The thing here to remember is this: adding players simply without adding the leagues is not helpful, because what you end up doing is you end up creating player bloat. Now, then you have too many players in the database, not enough active leagues for them to really, play in. You're just adding volume when what you really need is quality. How many nations should an average rig load? I mean, I don't know what you're using for a machine, but if you just want to have an entertaining game, great transfer market, great development of players, people are actually loaning your players and developing them, then what you need, follow the instructions and the guidelines in the game for your rig. In most cases, it might be 7 nations loaded and maybe 14 leagues. In that particular case, you will get a very good experience, because you're probably going to have about something like 70 to 80,000 players in your database. It's more than enough for you to have a very, very interesting game. A lot of mistakes I see people making with recruitment focuses. They go to the role and they pick ball playing defender. How many 17-year-olds already have the attributes for a ball playing defender? None. So you're just limiting the list. The second mistake I see a lot of people doing is they come in here, minimum current ability, they choose 2 stars, gold stars. No, you don't. This is, there are going to be a lot of players who can fit this bill. So increase the pool by going like 3.5 silver stars. Then you can play minimum potential ability of 3.5 to 4 stars, set a transfer, and then your ages between 15 to 18. You can have multiple recruitment focuses. There's a trick where you repeat the recruitment focuses, right? You do 2 or 3 of the same one just to speed up the search. I know it can work. It's kind of a interesting way of doing it. Then you set it. I like to set my priority to ongoing, because I have specific nations I always go to, right? So I've got the South American nations. I set them to ongoing and I let my scouts go there and I forget all about it. Now here, this include results found in other recruitment focuses. It's a great way for you to create one catch-all, meaning this is just one recruitment focuses that pulls out the best results from all the other recruitment focuses you have. That can be useful, especially if you don't choose any role. You just go any position from tactic. You create one like this with a checkbox, and then you set it to ongoing, set the ages to about 15 to 18, and then bring this down to about 3.5 stars, set it to transfer, call this a catch-all for all I know. I mean, I don't know what name you want to pick. And then set it to ongoing. And any recruitment focus that you currently have, it will also do one, and it will also include results from those other recruitment focuses. It just, aggregates all the results. Another thing you can do, go to further details. If you're the kind of player like me and just like stall players, go to height, add height, because I do that a lot and I get very good recommendations that come out. And then set it. As you can see here, I've got wonder kid left backs here. I got one for the youth competitions. This I do every year. I'll create one new one, and I have scouts that go and track the current youth competitions that are happening. Here I got any position from a tactic between the ages of 15 to 21, because there were some under 21 competitions as well. And then I set them for the UEFA under 21s, the Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers, and the under 19s. I will choose another competition, international here. Now we got the under 20 Africa Cup of Nations. Then competition happening. We've got I think that covers most of the international competitions that are occurring at the moment. So you can adjust this on the fly or add more. I typically, when I create my recruitment focus, once I see some recommendations, I add them to my shortlist. Here, for example, this player, I don't look at the recommendations. I never bother with this. I focus on potential ability. The player has got 4 stars or 4.5. I will add him to a shortlist, and then this shortlist happens over here. And these are all the players in my existing shortlist at the moment from the ages of 15 to 19. These are all wonder kids that we've been tracking and we've added to our list. We've got Mark Bernal, Martin Alvarez. These are all players that are here. And if I like to keep this current up to date, if they want to join me, this is a great way to find out if they're interested. So we've got a couple of players, at least Alexi is interested, Mark Bernal is interested in joining us as well. And we can definitely consider adding these players to my team in the near future. I hope you enjoyed today's show and you found it useful. And I hope that you go out there and, create a fantastic one ticket factory. I'll be really interested in hearing your comments below, your ideas, your thoughts. Maybe you have something that I do differently. Leave a message behind. I'm very, very interested to know. You guys, meanwhile, stay safe, take care of yourselves. I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.